Great news! With Trinidad Fresh, you get 70% real fruit juice, and it's available in fruit punch, orange, and apple.
Trinidad Fresh.
Let me hear you sing. Got to have my Viva, water but so much better. Got to have my Viva, water but so much better.
Viva sparkling flavored water. Water but better.
Assalamu alaikum, good evening guys, and welcome to See Results right here on IBN TV8. And of course, those of you joining us on our live stream on Facebook via our See Results page or on IBN TV page as well, okay? Welcome one and all. I trust that you had a good day at school, guys. You know, it's back to school, back to work. It's a lot of pressure on. SEA is very close, right? So right now what we're trying to do, make the most of the time that we have left. And in doing so, we are having lessons for you, of course, and providing quizzes where you can even test yourself after viewing the program for the entire week. And of course, you know, we do classes for SEA, so that is mathematics, we have ELA and creative writing. And in saying that, we are about to start our first creative writing session for this week. And followed by this, we are going to have ELA. So that's a little after 6 today, we are going to have ELA. So I'm going to be starting off creative writing with you. And before we get into what we are doing today, I would like to mention, because I know a lot of students look forward to this, usually on a Tuesday, what what he does is that he chooses a couple pieces of work submitted on the Edmodo page, and he showcases what you have submitted, right? So look out for those pieces and look out for your names as well. So we're going to start off talking about techniques used to start a story. Last day we discussed 10 ways in which you can follow, you know, to find the one that best suits you to help you start writing your story. So a lot of time you are writing a story or you're about to start writing after you have read the topic, and then immediately after you are stuck. You look at this topic and you don't know which angle to take it at. You know, how do I begin this story? And you sit there for 5, 6, 7 minutes and time is being wasted. You don't know how you should start your story. So last day we looked at 10 techniques to help us with the beginning of a story, right? It's a hook, you call it a hook. You know, it's the beginning of the story to captivate the reader. Remember, when you are now starting off your story, that's your motive there. You want your reader to become captivated and to be immediately interested and enticed by what you are writing. So I'm just going to go through them quickly. Last day what I did, however, I took each technique and I presented examples for you. So for number one, for example, begin with an attention-grabbing sentence. I provided examples of attention-grabbing sentences. So if you missed that episode last day, and you can always go back on our See Results page on Facebook, look for those videos and rewatch them. Or you can go on YouTube, as we now have a YouTube channel, and search the results, and there you will find all the videos that we have completed thus far, labeled quite neatly, I must say, so it's easy for you to identify which video is for which topic. So last day, that's what we did. We explained each one of these techniques very in depth, okay? So we looked at them and we said, okay, well, we can start your story like this or even like that. And as I said, you do not have to follow one specifically. It's whatever you are comfortable with, your style of writing. Remember, it must be to suit you while, of course, being on topic and writing about what's at hand. So let's just go through the techniques here. So you can begin with an attention-grabbing sentence, or you can use a question to start, probably something rhetorical, exclamation type sentence or exclamatory type sentence. And we also looked at exclamatory type sentences when we just started the C Results program. We looked at various types of sentences. Or you can use a flashback technique. So something in retrospect, something probably that happened already in your past. Maybe it wasn't even an actual experience that you encountered. Or you can arouse suspense and interest. Here you want to pique the interest or even create suspense here in the minds of your readers. You can also start by writing a vivid description of setting. And in talking about a vivid description of setting, we also started the topic of elements of a story, and we started discussing the setting of a story. And today we will be continuing with setting of a story. So if you missed that as well, you don't worry. I'm going to do a little more explaining and giving you a lot of examples about setting, okay, and ways to describe your setting. So when I say vivid description of setting, you are going to see again later on what I mean by vivid description, okay? So it's a lots of use of adjectives here and figurative language, of course, for setting. Dialogue. So you can also begin by using conversation or sound effects, onomatopoeia, right? Or you can use an interesting fact depending on your topic here. Like I said, for number 9, this may not be, the one that you will always go to, but it is good for you to know, a different way to start your story. So maybe an interesting fact. State something that that you think that your reader will not know, something educational. Provide a piece of information there that they didn't know before, or you think that might be interesting or appealing to them. And of course, use of proverbs. And we also looked at a lot of proverbs there. And proverbs also can be used at the end of your story. Similarly, with any one of these techniques, it's up to you how you want to use it. We just chose to use it as starting techniques when you are writing a story. As we move on to the elements of a story, when we come to the end of going through all the elements of a story, I'm going to go through with you some techniques, just as we did to start a story. We are going to go through some techniques to learn how to end your story, how to put your story all together, or how to tie things neatly, right? So we are jumping into elements of a story now. Like I said, we already started with setting, but just a recap here, when we are talking about elements of a story, these are all the things that must be included in a good story. So you must have a setting, you must have characters, you must have a plot, and in this plot, you will touch on all of these. So exposition, the rise in action, the climax of your story, the fall in action, and your resolution. Now, if some of these terms here are new to you or you're not familiar with these terms, don't be alarmed. We are going to discuss each and every one thoroughly, so you do not need to panic, okay? So before SEA, we'll have all of this covered. For now, we are on the element setting. And we said that setting determines the place, right? So when and time. So the place where your story is happening, right? So in other words, location. So the places you set your scenes contribute mood and tone. And when we were talking about this, mood and tone, we said that mood and tone will also be explained in ELA, however, when we start poetry in ELA. And we can even probably touch on it in creative writing somewhere along the lines as well, right? So it all depends on where you set your story will trigger the mood and the tone for that entire story, or how you want the reader to feel when they are reading your story. And then we also know that places restrict to open possibilities for your characters' lives and actions. So once again, it's up to you if you want your story to take place in a farm, on a farm, or if you want your story to take place in the city. Both of them there will restrict or open possibilities for your story. And your characters, of course. Places can evolve and change as your story progresses. And what I mean by that is that, you have a topic, and in that topic, you don't have to write one setting throughout that story. So your story may begin at home and it might very well end up on a beach or in a forest or out of space. And there you will see how your setting changes as your story moves along, right? So don't limit your story to one setting. If you have 2 settings, that's fine. Of course, you don't want to bombard it and use a lot, but you have to use your discretion here. And you want to make your story interesting. That's the whole idea about creative writing. You know, making something interesting, using creativity, using your imagination. So use your imagination. I encourage you to use your imagination there. So, you know, switch things up a little bit, right? And we said time was also equally useful for showing changes that contribute to character and plot development. So time is just as important. Time is just as important as place when you are talking about setting in a story, right? So what I want to do today, I want to discuss a little bit about setting. In that we are now talking about the actual setting of, for example, a city, a town, a village, or a road. So I'm going to give you some sample type sentences that you can follow for your writing. So if you are writing a story and you want your story to be in a place or in the setting of a city, but you don't know how to describe a city, right? This is what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you some ways and some sentences that you can use in your writing. You know, if you want to use it word for word, if you want to change it up a little bit, that's fine. Nothing is wrong with that, okay? It's all up to you. So I'm going to show you how you can use it to enhance your writing, as well as for town, village, and road. And of course, we have a lot more. Today is so much about, learning about the different styles in which you can use your figurative devices that you have learned and your descriptive language to help you to set your story. And similarly, for character description, it's the same thing. You have to describe your character fully, right? So it must be able to paint a clear picture of where that setting or where the story is taking place, right? So let's see here. It was a quaint town with narrow cobbled streets, right? When we see the word quaint, what comes to mind here? It was a quaint town with narrow cobbled streets. So it was an old-fashioned type town. That's what they are essentially saying, right? With narrow cobbled streets. So if it's an old town, picture long ago, right? In those movies you must have seen, right? And the town is usually old-fashioned. And the streets, how do they look? You know, what type of pathway is there, right? When they say cobble, they're talking about stone type streets. The picturesque market town was surrounded by gentle hills and leafy lanes. Notice and pay very close attention to the descriptive language they are using here. The picturesque market town, so here it is telling us where exactly, or the setting of your story here, was surrounded by gentle hills and leafy lanes. So if it is a gentle hills, were the hills very tall? No, they were not, okay? So maybe slightly sloping and leafy lanes. So you're painting the picture or you're getting the impression that there are lots of trees in that area, right? And the leaves must have fallen or something like that. That gives you leafy lanes. The pathways were leafy. The seaside town was a small, enchanting haven from the polluted city. Notice the change here, right? So first they're giving you a comparison, I should say rather, from the seaside town versus a city. So the seaside town was a small, enchanting haven from the polluted city. So what image comes to your mind about the seaside town, right? How are they describing that seaside town as opposed to the city? What was different, what was similar? So if you want to give a comparison in your story about 2 different places, here is a great example for you to follow. Be sure to include descriptive language or sufficient descriptive language when you are providing your supporting details. Ahead of him on the rocky coast was a quaint fishing village. So here, I just want to point out, this was actually, or these sentences here described or gave us a picture of a city. So now, ahead of him on the rocky coast was a quaint fishing village. So we're going to see what type of sentences we are now moving on to, right? And here we have a quaint fishing village. Picture a fishing village. Have you ever been to a fishing village? Now what really helps, and I'm saying this for the parents, what really helps with imagination and creativity, I will say experiences. You know, so the more that children experience, sometimes it benefits them in such a way that they are able to write, based on their experiences. So for a child who has been to a fishing village, maybe in Moruga or even in Mayaro, right, they have a lot to write about. They have actually witnessed, all of this and experienced what a fishing village is actually like. So they can probably give you, a little more information as opposed to a child who has never been to the fishing village and actually cannot even imagine what a quaint fishing village might look like, right? So what I'm saying there essentially, take your kids out, let them create new experiences, of course, and what you can do as a strategy to help them, create or help them, if you have a struggling child in creative writing and you want them to become better, what you can do, you take them to, for example, a quaint fishing village or a fishing village and tell them to write a paragraph based on their experience there. Trigger conversation with them. Ask them about how did the people dress? What did it smell like? And probably you had roast fish there. What did it taste like? Right? So you bring in all the senses here, ask them questions so that they can use their imagination and creativity to help them. Let's move on. The ancient town was a warren of tunnels and narrow, twisting alleys and a maze of buildings. So wow, look at this sentence here. Where is this story taking place? Ancient town. So it's something from long ago. It's old, right? It was a warren of tunnels. So now they're moving on to describe how that town is looking. A warren of tunnels, a lots of tunnels, which were narrow. And then they had twisting alleys. So the alleys, they were probably bent, here, there, and everywhere. And a maze of buildings. So buildings there on each street probably, and then you could even describe the buildings. Tall, short, color, all of those things, right? But it was an ancient town. So how you have to use your discretion there and, know whether to describe it in a modern style or not. And you would know it's actually not a modern style there, right? It's more ancient. So what I was trying to say there, when you're talking about colors and so on, and you're talking about ancient, you have to know colors associated with that time and so on. Moving on, it was a cosmopolitan city. The street markets filled the air with an exciting mix of smells and sounds from around the world. So where is this story taking place? Here, we know it's a city, but it's a cosmopolitan city. So that's a city there with a mixture or a nice mix of people from various parts of the world, maybe. The street markets, let's see what they mean by the street markets, fill the air with an exciting mix of smells and sounds from around the world. Here is describing for you, because it's a cosmopolitan city, there you will get a nice, a nice mix, a nice sensation of different smells, and probably, even when you go there, how are you going to feel knowing that you're witnessing all these different cultures and people and so on? We have a little more here. The city was bustling with tourists eager to explore the scores of shops, art galleries, and museums. Again, this is another one about a city, but how is a city described? It's described with bustling with tourists. So it's busy, right? The bustling there refers to busy. Tourists are in your city, they want to explore, they want to see what this city has to offer. So people are up and down, right? Eager to explore the scores of shops. So there are many shops, art galleries, and museums. So this is a very interesting city there. This is somewhere probably I would want to visit, right? The village was no more than a pile of stones and shattered walls. Your setting here will now be a village. And how is it described? It's described by being no more than a pile of stones and shattered walls. So is this a village that was newly renovated? You would say no, right? So this was something probably that was demolished or something from long ago that no one has been here for a long time. It could be any of those options. The houses were crowded together and blackened by soot and smog, right? So which country or which place can you think about where there are houses upon houses, closely knit or close by, you know, right next to each other, and it's actually, you know, blackened or polluted by soot and smog? Maybe you are referring specifically to a country or a place there that is heavily polluted. This is another way in which you can say all of that, right? So you don't actually have to use the word polluted, but when you say soot and smog, I immediately know, or the reader, immediately knows that you are referring to air pollution there, right? So we just discussed cities, we talk about villages. So city, town, villages, and roads. So what I want to do now, I want to move on to beaches, islands, volcano, and deserts. Now, why I'm choosing to do all of these? Because all of these are actually pretty common and popular, you know, when children are writing. They like to base their stories in all of these settings. These are the common ones. So I have chosen the common ones, you know, so that you will take probably a likeness to it, and you can even follow the sample style writing, right? So let's see. The beach was long and narrow and sloped gently down to the sea. So we know your setting here is the beach, but then they describe, you know, descriptive language here, long and narrow and sloped gently down to the sea. Next one. He was surrounded by sugar white beaches and a vivid blue sea that stretched for miles. So again, it's the beach, but when they say sugar white beaches, why do you think they say sugar white beaches? Sugar white beaches, if you actually picture a bag of white sugar, doesn't it glisten, right? So white sugar is like that. So here they're saying by sugar white beaches, it's glistening, right? And vivid blue sea that stretched for miles. That vivid blue sea, if you're standing at a distance and you look straight out, you know, for miles and miles, you will see that blue. It's so clear, right? And it's so evident that you cannot miss that blue. The emerald jewel of coral reefs and diamond dust beaches were enclosed by a lush green forest. It gives you a nice description of a beach here, and it is telling you where that beach is situated. So for a little further out, you will see a nice emerald jewel of coral reefs. So, and diamond dust beaches. As you move out further into the ocean, you will notice sometimes that the color of the water changes, and it often darkens. That could also, you know, mean that the depth of the water is increasing. So as further as you go, or farther out into the water as you go, the color may change because the depth increases, right? And thus beaches was enclosed by a lush green forest. So is it that this forest is healthy? Yes, it is. When it's a lush green, right? It's vibrant, right? We can say it's full of energy and it's very much alive. The beach was a long arc of golden sand, sheltered by dunes and large umbrella palm trees. Nice. So if we say the beach was a long arc of golden sand, we are saying that it's like semicircle or semicircular in shape, right? Sheltered by dunes and large umbrella palm trees. Can you picture that? Can you picture yourself in this place, right, where these beautiful trees, you know, so large, they seem, you know, and shelter everywhere, right? Vastly covered or gives great coverage. So now we're going to talk a little bit about islands. It was an eerie, lifeless island guarded by steep, rocky cliffs. So picture somewhere, you know, very lonely, probably in the middle of nowhere, you come across an island such as this one, right? So it can be described as eerie, lifeless, meaning probably there might be some trees, but no animals, no people. Well, you might have one or two animals, of course, but no people, right? Nobody's living here, no occupants on this land, guarded by steep, rocky cliffs. So if you look off that cliff there, what are you going to see? Can you imagine? They had arrived in a paradise of tropical islands with swaying palm trees, pure white beaches, and brilliant turquoise lagoons. So this is somewhere I would also love to visit, right? So in a paradise, when you talk about a paradise of tropical islands, Trinidad is often referred to as a tropical island, right? With swaying palm trees, pure white beaches. Well, that can be a little more of Tobago, right? And brilliant turquoise lagoons. So picture this, and if you want to write a story, you know, with this island, this type of setting, and this is how you can do so. The island was a time capsule. Wherever they went, they found relics of an ancient world, littered with bones. The shore was a jigsaw of human and animal skeletons. Once again, we know this setting is on an island. But look at this here. Look how they describe this island. They said that it was a time capsule. So here's a metaphor. When they say a time capsule, what do you think they mean, right? And if you're not sure and you go on to read the sentence, there are some clues in here that can help you. Wherever they went, they found relics. This is your clue word here, of an ancient, other clue word, world, littered with bones. The shore was a jigsaw of human and animal skeletons. So this is somewhere, you know, probably that no one has been for a long time. When you cover this land, you go, you know, you're walking on this island here, you can see that there are animal bones, decaying bones of humans and animals. So it's somewhere that no one has been for a long time, probably sometime, you know, that something happened here very long ago and no one came back since, right? So you ended up on this island. Imagine that. How will you feel if you come across something that feels like this, right? Immediately after reading this sentence, I can, you know, feel what that person is feeling. And that is what you want. When you are writing, you must be able, you know, to trigger emotions and certain feelings and thoughts for the reader. The reader must feel that way when they have read your piece or while they are reading your piece. The air was thick with choking fumes. Again, we're talking about air pollution here, right? And they are describing how the air was or how that air felt. The earth trembled and shook and sent everything crashing to the ground. So here's a nice one if you're referring to an earthquake, right? And you want to describe what happened, right? That's a great way for us or for you to explain how you felt, right, during that earthquake. So you're saying, well, not how you felt, but what happened rather during that earthquake. Huge black clouds blocked out the sun and darkness fell, right? So what time of day do you think this is, right? It doesn't necessarily need to be evening time if that's what you were thinking, or late afternoon. This can happen at any point in time, you know. You're going to have overcast weather, then you're going to have some black clouds, just as we have been having those funnel clouds last few days, right? You can witness some of those and block out the sun and darkness fell. Maybe it was a storm, a stormy day, right? Torrents of sizzling, smoldering ash and rocks rained from the sky, right? If we are describing a volcano, all of these actually are describing a volcano. And you want to talk about what is happening. We know, however, in Trinidad, we don't have lava volcanoes. We have mud. But if you were asked to write, you know, a story about an experience with a volcano, use your imagination, right? And here is a great sentence that you can use to help you. Actually, all of these are great sentences you can use to help you. As the volcano erupted, there was a deafening boom, and the ground trembled and shook. So you have here onomatopoeia, boom, right? That word there. And for those of you, again, if you missed that episode, we actually went through figurative language. We spoke about the simile, metaphor, onomatopoeia, hyperbole, and one more, personification, right? So we went through all of those, and that was actually your task on Edmodo. And like I said, Sejas will be here shortly to share a few of those pieces with you, right, in which you had to write a piece using figurative language. And as you can see, it is very well used in most of these sentences that we came across. We not only use descriptive language, but you can use figurative language. Both of those, go hand in hand, and it will benefit you, I assure you, when you are writing. So be sure to learn them and practice using them in your writing. So I'm just going to take a break. It's already 1:30. I would like very much, for Sejas to get some time to share all your lovely pieces. So we're just going to take a quick break. When we come back, Sejas is going to join us. He will happily share some of those pieces with you. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Or see results will be right back after these messages.
Shiklisha Limited, the Caribbean's largest manufacturers of plain and printed paper bags, leaders in plastic bags, vermicelli, split peas powder, and greaseproof paper, ideal for doubles, french fries, and sandwiches. Supplying stores nationwide. For quality products, trust Shiklisha Limited, 665-3336.
Great news! With Trinidad Fresh, you get 70% real fruit juice, and it's available in fruit punch, orange, and apple.
Trinidad Fresh.
For the everyday lowest prices on all grocery items, trust Low Cost Supermarket for the widest variety of quality products at low prices. Freshly picked fruits and vegetables, healthy products for your well-being, high quality meat cuts, and a warm and friendly service. Low Cost Supermarket, Southern Main Road, Cunupia.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening and welcome back, guys, to See Results. So right before the break, we were discussing setting. So in setting, we already looked at some sample type sentences that you can use in your writing if you want to describe a city, a town, a village, or even the roads in that city, town, or village. And then we went on to beaches, islands, volcanoes, and we are yet to do deserts. So I am just going to do that last one. We're going to look at those sentences, and then Sejas will join us, okay? As promised. Right. The desert was a furnace. It was a land of burning sands. And of course, as you can imagine, how would the desert feel, okay? Right? It's hot, it's humid, it's really a lot of heat. Huge sand dunes had been blown away by the sandstorm and dumped elsewhere. So now we're talking about the action of the sand. So if you're having a sandstorm, right, how will that, play out? What will happen? What do you imagine happening if there's a sandstorm? Worse yet, if you were there and had to experience a sandstorm, what will you do and how will you feel? The endless flat horizon was suddenly broken by a group of tall rock pillars like giant mushrooms. Notice here we have a simile, but let's understand this a little better. The endless flat horizon was suddenly broken by a group of tall rock pillars. So you're in the desert, you're looking around, you're probably wearing your shades, your hand over your eyes, and you are gazing around, and then it's flat horizon right through, and then you spin in probably another direction, and then that flat horizon there is broken. Broken meaning that we now have some tall pillars of rocks. So all the time it was a flat horizon, and as you move, you notice that there was some tall pillars of rocks. So that's a nice way there that you can break it down or share with us, the change there in scenery. It was a burning, merciless desert of glare and death. So again, if you're in the desert, how well do you think you will be able to see, right? With all that heat and sand and, wind and so on, how do you think you are going to see? How do you think you're going to manage? So all of these here have been some great ways or sentences to help you with your setting. So that's pretty much the end of setting for the elements of our story. Next day, which is on Thursday for creative writing, we are going to be starting with this character description. So be sure, to tune in every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Don't go anywhere, guys. So Ijaz is joining us now. He's going to share some of those pieces as promised with you, okay?
All right. Good evening. Assalamu alaikum. And thank you for tuning in and for watching C Results on IBN TV. I am Sir Ijaz, and I will be taking you through the rest of today's creative writing session. So previously, we have assigned creative writing work, and we mark it and so on, and then we come in the following week after we've graded it, and we present to you your pieces, and we give you some advice and some feedback on how it was done, and let you know where you could have improved and what are some of the things you should avoid, what are some of the things that you need to look out for, all right? However, we were off air for 1 week, and during that week we had given a creative writing assignment that was more to do with learning some synonyms for overused words, all right? So currently, last week we did the figurative language, and we assigned you an assignment, or a writing piece, a creative writing piece on using that figurative language, and it is due this week at Friday at 11:59 p.m., okay? And you all have already been submitting so many pieces of work, and we haven't graded it as yet because we have to give everyone a chance to submit their work, and we'll grade it over the weekend, of course. And in the interim, we have picked out some because people have already submitted on our Edmodo page, guys. And again, we'll show you the code for the Edmodo page at the end of both of these segments of the program today. And so these are very recent submissions by our viewers, and we have yet to really read them properly and to give you feedback as we do. We do try to give as much feedback on the Edmodo page as possible. So these are pretty much brand new pieces of work. All right, so this is still in progress, and you have up until 11:59 on Friday night to submit these pieces. All right, so the instruction goes as you are to write a paragraph describing your favorite place to be. All right, and we even included a little leeway here that if you don't actually have a favorite place, right, we encourage you to be imaginative and describe a place you'd like to visit, whether that place is real or imaginary, all right? So we're leaving it up to you. We like to encourage you to be as imaginative as possible, all right? And we want you to include at least 2 figurative language devices, whether it's the simile, metaphor, onomatopoeia, personification, or the hyperbole, all right? And we also would like you, because we are building upon everything that we've learned so far, right? We've already done paragraph writing, the basics of paragraph writing. So because it's a paragraph you're requesting and not an entire essay, you have to remember to follow the rules that Ms. Nyla would have given you. And all of these videos, guys, they are there on our Facebook page under the videos tab, and they are also on our YouTube page, our YouTube channel that you all can look up on YouTube, see results, and subscribe to that page, okay? So, all right, and we were sure to wish you the best of luck, of course. And here are some of those submissions. So this submission is one that I like very, very much. It was really well written, and it was given to us by Kevin Chen. All right, so Kevin actually even has an opportunity to improve upon this, because with the creative writing assignments, it's not like the English language arts and the maths where you are timed, you make your submission within the time and that's it, the computer grades you. For the creative writing, you can do as many drafts as you want up until the deadline, which is 11:59 p.m. on Friday, all right? So you can keep revising and doing it over and over. Sometimes if we have a browse, during the week and realize somebody submitted something that, didn't quite really stick to the instructions, we can actually request a resubmission and so on. All right, so this is what Kevin has done so far. It's really well written, and of course, he's getting a bit of help here. And on next week, of course, on Tuesday, now that we'll have a completed batch of assignments, again, for the creative writing, we can do a proper review where we pick the best of the best, and maybe we highlight one or two that didn't follow the instructions as properly so that you can know what not to do, all right? So again, honing in here on Kevin's submission, and the topic is my favorite place, all right? So my favorite place to be is my home. I like my home because it has internet running like a cheetah, all right? This line had me laughing quite a lot, all right? This is a simile. He is comparing the speed of his internet to a cheetah, which, as you may or may not know, is the fastest moving land animal on the planet, all right? So he has a pretty good internet connection there, all right? My bed that feels like a pile of feathers, all right? So a pile of feathers is, intended to convey that feeling or that sensation of softness, all right? And lastly, food that might last an eternity, all right? So this here now is a hyperbole where he is really exaggerating, all right? Because, of course, you can't really have food to last an eternity, all right? If you did, you would soon become the richest person on the planet, all right? Because you could sell all of that food to people. So these are great reasons to want to be home, by the way. He has his internet running like a cheetah. The internet need not be a place for, frivolity. You can learn as you are learning. Many of you are looking at us on Facebook right now and will be looking at us later on YouTube. All right? His bed that feels like a pile of feathers, which is very comfortable, and food that might last an eternity. All right? So every time I reach home, my bed calls me. All right? Remember, this is the raw submission here. We are just giving it to you as it was submitted. All right, so it should be that the bed calls him. And what type of figurative language is that? That is a personification. All right, so the bed does not literally call you. All right, but it feels like that, because of the pull of that bed. It entices you to go and to lie down. All right, and then he tries here to use an onomatopoeia, all right, which is the word that mimics the actual sound. All right, so boom. And that should not actually be in quotation marks because it's not direct speech. The neighbors always go at the weak ends, all right? So this line is a bit out of place actually in keeping with the theme unless he enjoys the boom of the neighbors. I'm assuming it is probably their sound system or their music or something like that, right? Maybe he enjoys that, so he enjoys being home to listen to the neighbors' music, all right? And there is no better place than my home, all right? My home is the best out of all places. Again, a bit of hyperbole here. Of course, this is personal opinion, so, it's not necessarily outright hyperbole, but to say that something is the best out of all places is a very bold statement indeed, but it's the best of places to him, all right? And he concludes by saying that I just love my home. All right, so we had a lot of nice figurative language in this paragraph. All right, he kept it down to a paragraph, very few errors, and it was quite an enjoyable read. All right, I especially love the part, and I think most of us wish that we had internet that's running like a cheetah. All right, as fast as it can be. All right, so then we had a second submission now by Tiana Andrews, and this one is a bit longer. All right, so she is describing here for us her favorite place. And she says, Harry's water park must be my favored place in the entire universe because of its exciting rides. All right, so that should be favorite place. All right, although it is a long way from home, it's worth the prolonged drive. Once the admission fee is paid, you have access to all the rides that the park contains except the grounds at the cabins. Okay, not much use of the figurative language as yet, and we are quite well into our paragraph. All right, the toilet flush is as fast as a race car. Now, hold on there. Some of you might be a bit perplexed, all right, if you've never been to Harry's Water Park. It's a ride, it's a slide that, goes down, circling over and over, and it gets more narrow as you reach to the bottom of the slide. All right, it's very fast. So that should actually be capitalized, this word here, because it's a proper noun. Right? It's the name of a ride. Okay, is as fast as a race car. All right, so we have here now a simile comparing the ride or the speed of this ride to a race car, enough to give you a heart attack. All right, enough to give you a heart attack. Of course, this might actually be true for people suffering with a heart condition or the elderly and so on, but I believe she is using it here as a hyperbole, because your heart is pounding while you're going down that slide, while the kiddie pool is nice and clean, or nice and calm, sorry, perfect for parents to relax with their children, all right? And that's not all. There's also a zip line, which will have you on the other side of the park at the speed of light, all right? Are you really moving across that park at the speed of light? No, this is a nice use of hyperbole here, all right? At the speed of light, we use that a lot to describe objects that are moving very fast, all right? For all those who rather have fun without being drenched in the water, all right? So this is a very nice submission by Tiana. Considering the length of it, we would have liked to probably have seen it either a little bit shorter or with more of our figurative language, but it was still quite well done. It really expresses to us why Harry's Water Park is her favorite place, all right? And that was the assignment, and she did use two, right? She has her hyperbole there, and she has simile as well, all right? So that was pretty well done, Tiana. And of course, she has the opportunity now that she was picked, at random. We randomly selected these to go now and improve upon her project or her essay paragraph, actually, which is due Friday at 11:59 p.m. And all of you do. All right. So if you're realizing that you have made a submission already and it's lacking in some way, but can be improved upon, you can improve upon it as many times as you like until that deadline sets in. All right. So that's two of our passages that we've selected so far. Let's keep it moving, all right? We have another here by Brianna Bacchus, all right? So, haha, I exclaimed, all right? So first of all, this is direct speech here, all right? So it should be within our quotation marks. As the black bumper car crashed into another car like a blind man. All right, so she's using here a simile to describe the car, or to liken the car to being that of a blind man, all right? So blind man can't see where he's going, so he crashes into another car, right, like a blind man. Faster than flash, all right, faster than flash, so that there's a hyperbole, all right? I drove around the square area, round and round. As the fun came to its end, the car's face turned sad like a very lost puppy. All right, so do cars actually have faces? No, but if you look at a car, from in front, the headlights and the grille and so on, it very much looks like a face at times. All right, and of course, we have all of these images in our mind from those animated movies with talking cars and so on. That helps, to cement that image in our mind there. All right, so the car's face turns sad like a very lost puppy. Of course, she's really trying to say here that she is sad because the ride has ended now. All right, so it's not actually the car whose face is turning sad, but this is her imagination here. It's a very lovely use of imagination. And she's likening that sad face. So the car having a face is a personification. And then, like a very lost puppy, here we have a simile, right? Because that word like is used, all right? Likening the car to a very lost puppy, and a lost puppy might naturally be sad, all right? I hope I return soon so I can go on my favorite ride in Fun Station, the bumper cars, all right? So again, like as with all of our submissions so far, there are some minor grammatical errors. All right, but as we continue to emphasize, we do have the ELA segment where as we continue to learn our English language arts, it will improve our creative writing and we'll have less and less errors. As a matter of fact, I do see students attempting to utilize those rules that Ms. Nyla is giving in their writing as the weeks go on. All right, sometimes we see them attempting to use things that were taught on the show. Sometimes they don't execute it properly, but that's fine. That means that they are willing to improve upon their work. All right, that's the only way that you improve, actually, is by trying. Sometimes you don't get it right on the first attempt, but you will as long as you are persistent and willing. All right, so that's fine. For this segment of our show, we're not going to go, on a big rant on the grammar. We want to see your creativity at play, and we want to see you trying to utilize whatever tools that were taught the previous week and that we'd like to see you incorporate into your writing, okay? So far, all of these submissions that we've shown have more or less stuck to the instructions that were given and have done quite well, all right? Here's another from Talia Dasin. Maybe it's pronounced Dasin. All right, the clouds were like puffy white balls in the sky. All right, so this is a simile here comparing those clouds to white balls in the sky that are puffy, maybe like cotton balls. All right, the trees swayed gently in the cool breeze. Okay, the waves were calm and serene. The beach is my favorite place to relax. All right, so here we have now crunch, crunch, right, which is not direct speech, so we shouldn't have the quotation marks here. So we're noticing a trend. Sometimes some people are using the quotation marks when they ought not to, and sometimes they're not using it when they should. All right, so we need to firm up on our understanding of that, people. The crunch, crunch here now, when you hear the word crunch, you can actually, it feels as though you're hearing something being crushed or being stepped on, or maybe a chip being bitten into, right? That crunch, the word crunch actually kind of sounds or mimics the sound of an actual crunch, all right? And this is what we call onomatopoeia, right? As my feet walked on the warm, light brown, crisp sand, right? The sun was scorching, hot like pepper, which made me get a little tan, all right? So that sentence could probably be restructured or maybe broken up. But as we said, we're not emphasizing too much on the grammar right now. We just want to check your creativity and your attempt to use our figurative language devices, all right? So the sand is crunching as she's walking on the sand, all right? Well, there actually was a full stop here, all right? So therefore, this should have been capitalized. The sun was scorching hot like pepper, which is another simile, all right, which made me get a little tan. The beach will always be my special place, and it's no surprise that we've got several submissions so far dealing with beaches, and one beach in particular, right, the beach that all or most Trinidadians love to visit, which is Maracas Bay, all right? So I'm waiting till I get all those Maracas Bay submissions to probably pick the best of the best there, all right? But this one is just describing the beach in general. All right, a nice usage of similes. We have the onomatopoeia in there, all right? And this was by Talia, so thank you so much, Talia, for your submission. Okay, all right. So we had Kevin Chen describing his home in the beginning, all right? And here's someone else describing their home. Now think about our instructions. You were supposed to use at least 2 figurative language devices. But in this piece, let's read, my home is in a nice neighborhood, right? My house has a living room, a dining room, a kitchen, 2 bathrooms should be, and 3 bedrooms, all right? All of the rooms have comfortable furnitures, that should just be furniture, and my home is my favorite place to be, all right? So, yes, it did stick to the rules of paragraph writing. We have supporting details, topic sentence, concluding sentence, and so on, but we have here a lack of figurative language being used, all right? So we did say that when we are being more critical of a piece, we'll leave out the name, and as promised, so we have done, all right? So, the owner of this piece of writing would know themselves. Maybe they might be watching live, or maybe they are going to see it later on. So, of course, you should head back to your writing And anyone who has been guilty or finds themselves guilty of making this mistake, remember this is a live open assignment right now. This is the first time this has happened on the program that we're critiquing before the deadline date because of the little lapse in time that we had for our 1 week break. And that's fine, of course. Next week we'll have those final paragraphs to choose from. Some of these might be improved upon and might be featured again. Maybe we might be featuring all brand new pieces on next Tuesday's creative writing segment, all right? So we'd want to avoid this, guys. When you are given an assignment, a quiz, especially when you sit down to write your essay and so on or your creative writing piece for SEA exam, you need to read your instructions carefully. That applies to every exam that you will write, okay, in life. You need to read your instructions very carefully before you do anything. As a matter of fact, that comes with instructions. It's probably in your best interest to read those instructions, all right, to avoid harm, or in this case, to avoid losing marks for not complying, okay? And then we had another submission that was just it was a paragraph that described the favorite place, but without the use of the figurative language that we would have liked to see. All right, I would like to visit London because my granny and auntie should live there, and the pictures I've seen are beautiful. All right, okay. Also, I like the cold, and my granny is sick, so that's another reason why I wanted to go to London. I like snow, and I like to skate. If I ever get to go to London, I will have an experience of ice skating. All right, so these are all reasons, and of course, if this is based on reality here, we wish the best to your granny in London, of course. But in this paragraph, you have to follow the instructions, as we said, and try to use some figurative language. All right, that was the aim. That's what's being tested here. All right, not a bad paragraph at all. There are some grammatical mistakes in there. All right, I'm not going to emphasize those, but this is a piece that can be improved upon greatly. All right, aside from the grammatical errors that are there, you need to, of course, use your figurative language. Our past videos on those topics are available for you on our YouTube channel, See Results, and on the Facebook page under the videos tab, of course. All right? So this brings us to the IBN TV and San Juan Muslim Ladies Essay Writing Competition 2020. I just want to mention that quickly again. All right, the topic is why I love to fast in Ramadan. It's open to boys and girls 12 and under, and it's due on Friday, the 10th of April, 2020, which is a week and a day after your SEA exam. So if you don't have time to work on it now, you have a week plus a day to do so. All right, 12 and under, boys and girls. It must be handwritten, and it must be addressed to here, all right, IBN Ramadan Essay Competition, but here at IBN TV 861 Bamboo Main Road, Bamboo Settlement number 2, Valsayn. And there are some wonderful cash prizes there for you to win. All right, the first place prize of $5,000, second place prize of $3,000, and the third place prize of $2,000 that are sponsored by the San Juan Muslim Ladies Organization. So here's an opportunity to use the skills that you're being taught here on C Results, for not only for your C exam, but in expressing yourself and in potentially winning a lovely prize. All right. So we do encourage you to do this, all right, to participate, guys. Of course, to get all of these details, you can pause the video after the live, all right. It's been mentioned on several of our creative writing videos, and we'll continue to do so as we approach that deadline, all right. And finally, for those of you who are asking about our Edmodo page, you visit edmodo.com, parents, and register your child as a student using this code 6KJQ3Y. All right, you can also register as a parent, but it's not absolutely necessary to do so. Just please monitor your child's usage of their devices when they are doing our work. We want them to be there for the purpose that it's intended for. All right, and that they don't get or they aren't swayed in the wrong way on those devices. All right, so that's the code 6KJQ3Y, and that is it today for our creative writing session. I have been Sir Ijaz, and we will be back after a break and the Maghrib Adhan at around 6:07 when Miss Nyla will be continuing with English language arts. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a few minutes. Good evening. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, good evening guys, and thank you so much for rejoining me right here on C Results. I'm Miss Nyla, and previously we just ended with creative writing, and now we are moving on to ELA or the ELA segment, right? So as you know, yesterday we looked at a number of things, but more specifically we looked at types of adverbs. And then we started or proceeded with this sample paragraph here, right behind me. Where we allow students to call and give us the answers. So the lines are not open as yet. Don't worry, they will be open soon when I have some activities for you to complete. I would just like to complete that last answer there, and then we can get started on analyzing the errors. And if you're just joining me, probably it's your first time on the show, or you're just, just finding out about C Results, we are currently going through the essay type papers for English language arts. So in this paper, there are two sections. In section 1, it consists of spelling, punctuation, and capitalization, and grammar, which we are currently on. We are currently going through the grammar section. And we said in this task, or in this, well, I wouldn't say section, in this task, it's actually consists of 12 marks, where 1 mark will be awarded for identifying the error, and the second mark will be for writing the correct answer. And it's a little more tricky than spelling and punctuation in that we need to spend a little more time with all the rules that we need to learn and apply for grammar. And then there's section 2, which consists of comprehension, poetry, and your graphic, which we will soon be moving on to, okay? So let's continue with grammar today. So I'm just going to read the entire piece, and then I'll put in the answer there just as a refresher for you. The sun shone brightly on that memorable Sunday morning. Since the day was perfect for kite flying, Kafra scampered out of his bed in excitement. He had the most magnificent mud-bull kites, that of which he was eager to fly. After viewing a huge kite selection online, he had choose a red one. So actually your answer here, or your error here, was choose or chose. And it should actually been, or should have been, chosen, right? So they had choose a red one. Your answer should be had chosen a red one. So the helping verb had there remains, but your past participle of the word choose should now be chosen. So now, as we usually do, we are going to analyze it line by line or error by error. The first error here, the sun shone bright on that memorable Sunday. Here we have bright, and it should really be brightly. Now, what have we been learning about adjectives and adverbs so far? So bright there was your adjective. Instead, it needed to be in the adverb form or adverb part of speech. So we have been doing this, and we will continue to do it as reinforcement, where you change root words, to adjective, adverbs, or even noun formation. So I'm going to let the lines open up there, call us, and help us complete this table here, right? We are just simply changing the adjectives to adverbs, and sometimes I even give you the adverb, and then you will have to give me the adjective form of the verb. Right? So, for example, I have the adjective here. Critically, what will my adverb be for the word critically? I have the adjective energetic. Now I want you to give me the adverb of the adjective energetic. Equal, this one is done for you. So if you're wondering what to do, here is a sample or an example of how it should be done. And I already have a call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to C Results.
Hi.
Hi, good evening. What's your name?
Nicholas.
Hi, Nicholas. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Okay, so how was school today, Nicholas?
Well, it was good.
All right. So you're going to help us with the first answer there.
The first answer, the adverb is critically, the
Right.
adjective critical.
Excellent. Would you like to try another one as you are here with us?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to choose or you would like to do the second one?
I could do the second to last one, which is faithful.
Yeah, sure.
Faithfully.
Faithfully. Excellent job. Thank you so much, Nicholas, for your call and your enthusiasm as usual, okay? So, Nicholas is one of our loyal viewers. He's always with us, okay? We have another call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Hi.
Hi, good evening. What's your name?
Maya, see that.
Hi, Maya. So, can you help us out here? We have the adjective, energetic. What will the adverb form of that word be?
Energetically.
Energetically. Great. And so I'm spelling it here. And should it be one L or two L's?
One.
Are you sure? If I have one, that's how it would look. Does it look correct to you?
No, it has supposed to have two.
Two L's, right? Thank you so much for your call. Right, and I deliberately did that because I want you all to pay attention to spelling as well, okay? We have another call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening. What's your name?
Vishala.
Hi, Vishala. So we have the adverb truthfully. What will my adjective be?
Truthful.
Truthful. Excellent job. And truthful with one L or two L's?
One L.
Excellent job, right? And do you mind answering that last one for us there?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
If the adjective is sing.
Well, actually, how we would pronounce it, singly. Singly. He's singly or one-handed or singly, dealt with a problem, meaning by himself, meaning as one. So this is actually pronounced singly, okay, meaning one.
So the adjective will be single.
Excellent job. You are quite correct. Thank you so much for your call and your contribution. Right, so let's just go through this here. And we're just going to hold up on the calls a little bit again till we arrive at the next exercise. So we have critical, critically, energetic, energetically. Notice, pay attention to the two L's here, your spelling change. Equal, equally, truthful, ending with one L. So that suffix here is F-U-L, not F-U-L-L, okay? Truthfully, faithful, faithfully. We have sleepy, sleepily, single, and singly, okay? So let's move on to our second line. So we identify the error here since the day was perfect with kite flying. So we change with for. So you have to know when to use which preposition. So it's a matter of choosing the correct preposition. So the lines are open again. What we have here, we have 5 sentences, and above in that box we have at least 7 or 8 prepositions for you there. And what you have to do, choose a preposition from the box to complete your sentence. Now, I just want you to choose the preposition that is most suitable for each sentence. So a sentence might have 1 or 2 answers. That is possible as well, right? So let's just go through these prepositions here. We have onto, among, at, without, between, in, on, and from. And of course, there are lots of prepositions. These are only a few. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results. Hi, caller. Welcome. Good evening. How are you?
Hi.
And what's your name?
I'm good.
Okay, and what's your name?
My name is...
Are you there, caller? Sorry?
My name is Amani Latif.
Okay, nice to have you with us. So we're on number 1 here. What do you think is the correct or most suitable preposition for that sentence?
The suitable preposition for the sentence will be onto the wall.
Onto the wall. So spider crawled onto the wall. So that is correct. Any other answers we might have, be able, or that can work here?
On the wall?
On the wall is correct as well. So notice we have 2 answers here. So thank you so much for your call. So the spider crawled on the wall, or you can even say the spider crawled onto the wall. We have another caller on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results. Hi, what's your name?
Jessica Barrow.
Sorry?
My name is Jessica Barrow.
Okay, nice to have you with us. We're on number 2. Can you read that sentence for me as well as give me the correct preposition there?
P.S. returned home his cell phone that fateful day.
Five return home. Yes, what's the answer?
Without.
Without his cell phone that fateful day. Excellent job. Thank you so much for your call. Right, so without.
Yes.
So far so good. We have another call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Hello.
Hi, good evening.
Hi.
What's your name?
Miriam.
Hi, Miriam. And yes, Miriam, this is Miriam from my school, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're on number 3 here. What do you think is a preposition, a more suitable preposition here?
I will be going swimming on Saturday.
On, and what is another preposition that can possibly work here?
From.
From. Excellent job, Miriam. Thank you so much for calling.
You're welcome.
Okay, so notice, guys, again, we have 2 answers here, right? We have another caller on the line. Good evening, caller, and welcome to See Results.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. What's your name?
Vishala.
Hi, Vishala. So we're on number 4 here. What answer would you choose, or which preposition would you choose?
I would choose between.
The cake was shared. The cake was shared between Andrea and me. Don't go as yet. Why did you choose between rather than among?
I chose between because the cake is shared between 2 persons.
And when do we use among?
Once they share between 1 and 2 persons.
Excellent job. Thank you so much for your call. And that very well, a very good explanation there. So she chose between because it's only 2 persons, whereas among, that preposition among, is for more than 2 persons. We have another call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results. Hi, caller. Good evening, caller. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, so we're on number 5 now. The fishermen pulled the nets something the shore. What do you think?
The fisherman pulled the net on the shore?
On, or what else can we say here?
Onto?
Onto. Excellent job. Right? Thank you so much for your call.
Welcome.
So the fisherman pulled the nets on or onto, more suitably, the shore. So thank you so much for your calls, guys. We're just going to hold up again once more until we bring on that next exercise. Here we had Kafra scampered out of his bed in excitement. So notice it's now not the present tense, but actually the past tense. And last day, we spoke a bit about past tense, and we looked at ways in which you can form the past tense. So you can either add ed, or there are some cases where you just need to add d. That's if the verb ends with e. Then you may have to change that e, and all of those things. So if you missed that, go back and rewatch that video, or look for that video on YouTube or See Results page on Facebook, okay? That's very important for you to note for your verb tenses. And in talking about changes or in the past tense of verbs forming the past tense, we looked at regular verbs, changes, and then we looked at irregular verbs. So the exercise that we have here, some deals with irregular verbs. So just be mindful of that when you're answering these questions. I have a caller on the line. Good evening, caller, and welcome to See Results.
Hello, good day.
Hi, good day. What's your name?
Nehemiah.
Nice to have you with us. So we're on number 1 here. Remember, we are looking at the past tense. So what will your answer be here?
A letter comes in the mail today.
Okay, so
in the mail today.
sorry?
Came.
Excellent. Right? Good job there. So I just want to so thank you so much for your call. So I just want to take a minute here. Initially, the caller said comes, right? Just be mindful, it's a past tense, so he quickly came to that realization. So it's actually came instead of comes. Comes there is actually present tense, right? So let's be mindful of that. We have another caller on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results. Caller, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, what's your name?
Joseph.
Hi, Joseph.
Mayaro.
Okay, so what's the weather like in Mayaro today?
Well, it was very sunny today. No rain at all.
Okay, so did you play at school?
Yes.
Okay. Are you in standard 5?
Yes.
Okay, so are you ready for SCA?
Yes, of course.
Of course, right? That's the energy that we want. So we're on number 2 here. Complete the sentence for me.
I saw you at the movies last night.
Excellent job. So, past tense of the verb, see. Thank you so much for your call. So we're on to number 3 now. We have another call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Hi.
Hi, what's your name?
My name is Isaiah.
Hi, Isaiah. So what's the answer for number 3?
Yesterday we went to the market.
Went. Excellent job. Went. Right? So go, went. And do you know the past participle of the verb go?
Gone.
Gone. Great job, Isaiah. Thank you so much for your call. And if you're wondering about past participle, don't worry. We're going to be dealing with that in a little bit as well, right? Okay, thank you. So we have another caller there on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Hi.
Hi, good evening. What's your name?
Maya Sidat.
Hi, Maya. So we're on to number 4 here. What's the answer for number 4?
Wrote.
Wrote, right? So the students wrote their names at the top of the page. Thank you so much for your call and your answer. And the last one, or on this exercise, we have another call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results. Caller, good evening.
Good evening.
What's your name?
Akash Lakshman.
Okay, so Akash, we're on to number 5 here. What do you think is the answer?
I think the answer is he wrote.
Spell wrote for me.
I think the answer is wrote.
You are correct, but can you spell wrote for me?
R-O-D-E.
Excellent job. Right, thank you so much for your call and your answer. Right, we also know that there's R-O-A-D, which means something completely different. And don't be confused with your homophones, right?
Okay,
thank you. Right, so he rode his bicycle to school. Notice all of these form the past tense, they're irregular verbs, right? Next error here. He had the more magnificent marble kite. Your error, more magnificent should actually be most magnificent, right? And that is actually dealing with your comparative and superlative adjectives. And this is also another topic that we already covered. So once again, this is revision for you. So we have the positive form of the word, or your root, and you have your comparative and your superlative. So the lines are open. Call us and help us to complete this table. In the meanwhile, I want you to remember or be reminded, when do we use comparative and when do we use superlative? How much should we be comparing, right, as opposed to when using the superlative form? All of these things are things that you are supposed to be knowledgeable about before you go about using the comparative or the superlative form. We have a call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Hi.
Hi, good evening. What's your name?
Andrea.
Hi, Andrea. So what is the comparative form of the positive red?
Redder.
Redder. How do I spell redder?
R-E-D-D-E-R. I mean E-R.
Spell that again for me. R. Call, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, spell redder for me.
R.
Yeah.
E. D. D-E-R.
Excellent. Great job there, okay? Thank you so much for your call. So notice or pay attention to the spelling of redder and, of course, reddest. So red, redder, reddest. We have another call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to C Results. Hi, caller. Welcome to C Results. Caller, are you there? Okay. For some reason, I'm not hearing this call. Also, just as a reminder, guys, when you are calling, remember to turn down the volume on your television set so that we don't get any feedback here, right? We have a call on the line again. Good evening, caller. Welcome to C Results.
Hello.
Hi, good evening. What's your name?
I'm Zaria.
Right. Nice to have you with us. So what is the superlative form of wide?
Widest.
Widest. Spell widest for me.
W-I-D-D.
All right. Uh-huh. Think about it.
W-I-D-E-R.
Well, remember, it's a superlative form.
D-E-S-T.
Okay, so spell it once more for me.
W-I-D-E-S-T.
Excellent. So it's not double D's, okay? It's actually one D, right? So W-I-D-E-S-T. So thank you so much for your call. So just remember to take your time when you are giving your answers. Look at spelling, okay? Spelling changes. We have another call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to C Results. Caller, good evening.
Please hang up.
Good evening, caller. Welcome to C Results. Okay, I'm also not hearing this call, so I'm just going to go ahead here. We have ugly. I need a comparative form. And we have the superlative form, which is ugliest. We have another caller here. Good evening, caller. Welcome to C Results.
Good evening.
Hi, what's your name?
Vishala.
Hi, Vishala. So what is the comparative form here?
The comparison form is uglier.
How will you spell uglier?
U-G-L-I-E-R.
Great job, Vishala. Would you like to do the next one for me?
Yes.
Okay. So I have little, less, and what will be the superlative?
Least.
Least. Excellent job. Thank you so much for your call and your correct answers once more. We have another call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to C Results. Hi. Good evening, caller. Welcome to C Results.
Uglier.
Okay, so we already answered that one. We are on to ill. We need the comparative of ill, and we have the superlative worst. So what do you think is the comparative there?
Least.
Sorry?
Least.
Well, not least. We have ill, the comparative of ill, and I have worst. So what will be the comparative of worst? Or ill, rather?
Ill. Illa.
Illa. So do we say illa? Does this word look familiar to you?
No.
Or
Worst.
worse? Spell worse to me.
W-O-R-S-E.
Excellent job. Thank you so much for your call and sticking it out there, right? So it's actually W-O-R-S-E. And this is for anyone who got this wrong as well, okay? So don't worry, it's actually ill, worse, and worst, not ill, illa, illest, okay? Ill, worse, and worst. We have another caller there on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to C Results.
Hello. Hello.
Hi, what's your name?
Jesse Barrow.
Okay, so nice to have you with us. So we're on to careless, less careless. Now, what will the superlative here be?
Least careless.
Least careless. Correct, right? So I should say least careless.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good evening. We have another call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, what's your name?
Maya.
Hi, Maya. So we're on to interesting, more interesting, and then I will have what here to complete my superlative form?
Most interesting.
Most interesting. Thank you so much, Maya, for that call and your correct answer. Right? So just to recap, guys, we are holding up on the calls a little bit. Just to recap, we have your positive, your comparative adjective, and you have your superlative adjective as well. So we have red, redder, reddest, wide, wider, widest, ugly, uglier, ugliest, little, less, least, ill, worse, worst, careless, less careless, least careless, interesting, more interesting, and most interesting. I specifically chose these, so like red or ugly or ill, because I wanted to test your spelling, okay? So these are the ones probably not as popular, so you need to be mindful of them when you are writing it, okay? Just be, look out for spelling changes and so on. Let's move on. So we're on now to the fifth error there. He had a more magnificent or most magnificent marble kite, what he was eager to fly after viewing a huge. We changed the relative pronoun what to either that or which. So now we are going to test a little bit on relative pronouns. Just to be mindful here, these sentences are a little different than what we usually do. So look at number one here. Where is the sweater I gave you? In number one, I want the missing relative pronoun, or I want you to add a relative pronoun here to complete that sentence, right? So a relative pronoun there is missing. This is the girl, her pet is missing. I have two separate sentences here, but I want to use a relative pronoun to join that sentence. That is the businessman I met recently, right? I also need, just like number one, a relative pronoun here, a missing relative pronoun to complete that sentence. These are the children, they came to pick mangoes. Just like number two, we are going to use a relative pronoun to join this sentence. And number five, that is the man we selected for the job. Again, similar to 1 and 3, we want to add in there a relative pronoun. So the lines are open once more. Call us and help us to complete these sentences. So number one says, where is the sweater I gave you? So which relative pronoun are you going to insert in that sentence? And just as a recap, I wonder how many of you, remember what are the relative pronouns that we learned here. And just in case you are forgetting, you should know that which, that, who, whom, and whose. And we also learned, the specifics, when to use that, when to use which. And we both know that, we know that both of them can also be used interchangeably. We learned when to use whose, and we learned the difference between who and whom. We have a call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam. What's your name?
Abdulaziz.
Hi, Abdullah. So we're on number one here. Abdulaziz, sorry. So we're on number one here. Where is the sweater I gave you? Which relative pronoun can I add in here? Caller, are you there? Caller, are you there? Okay, I'm not too sure if we lost that one. We have another call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Hi.
Hi, good evening. So, hi, what's your name?
Tara.
Hi, is it Tara?
Yes.
Okay, Tara. So we're on number one there, and I want to insert a relative pronoun. Which relative pronoun will I use, and where will I insert that relative pronoun?
Where is the sweater that I gave you?
Excellent job. Where is the sweater that I gave you? Thank you so much for your call and your correct answer. We have another call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results. Hi, what's your name?
Jennifer.
Okay, so we're on number 2 here. Number 2 is a little different. We have 2 sentences, and I need a relative pronoun to join those 2 sentences. Which relative pronoun will you use?
This is the girl whose butt is missing.
Excellent. This is the girl whose...
Whose butt is missing.
Spell whose for me. Okay, so I'm just going to complete that there. Whose, okay? Not to be confused with W-H-O apostrophe S. This whose here, as this pronoun actually means who is. Whose here shows ownership. So do not confuse them. We have another caller on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Hi.
Hi, good evening. What's your name?
Maya.
Hi, Maya. So we're on number 3 there. I need to insert a relative pronoun in the sentence. Which relative pronoun will I use and where will I insert it?
This is the man who I met recently.
This is the man.
Who I met recently.
Who or whom? Spell it for me.
W-H.
Uh-huh.
O-N.
O-M. Correct. Right? So that is the businessman whom I met recently. And if you are, thank you so much for your call and your answer. If you are one of those who have problems with using who and whom, I urge you to go back to one of our earlier videos. It is actually labeled on YouTube. So if you go on YouTube, it's easy for you to find, right? Describing or telling you when to use who and when to use whom. We have another caller there on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Hi.
Good evening. Hi, what's your name?
Nicholas.
Yes, I should know that, right, Nicholas?
Yeah.
So,
this question, I think, I'm not too sure. I kind of get in problems, but I think it's who.
Spell it for me.
W-H-O.
Well, guess what, Nicholas? You are correct, right? So great job there, right? These are the children who came to pick mangoes. Great job. Thank you so much for your call.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, right? And then we have number 5. That is the man we selected for the job. We have another caller there on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Good night.
Good night. What's your name?
Kendra Sal.
Nice to have you with us. So number 5 there, we would like to insert a relative pronoun. Which relative pronoun will I insert and where will I insert it as well?
This is the man we've selected for the job.
Right, and which relative pronoun will I use there?
We've.
Well, we've is not a relative pronoun. Actually, we've. So we have we've. This is actually we have, right? So that's actually a contraction. I should write it here, right? I can't see there. So that's actually, we could probably scroll up there a little bit on the screen so the viewers can see that. Right, so we've there is actually a contraction, right? So it's a shortened form of a word. So the relative pronouns, are you there on the line right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so probably if you want to take this off here so I can do a little explanation for you, okay? But thank you so much for your call. I just want to mention, guys, the relative pronouns that we are familiar with. That, who, whom, whose, and which, right? So these are the ones that we are using here to complete our sentences. So I'm just going to give this call on the line a chance to give us an answer, and then I will tell you the correct answer for number 5. We have a call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Hi.
Hi, good evening. What's your name?
Christian.
Christian?
Yeah.
Okay, so Christian, number 5. Which relative pronoun will I use there?
Who.
Whom. Where will I, can you spell that for me?
Between we and selected.
Right, so that is the man. And whom
we selected for the job.
That is correct. So that is the man whom we selected for the job. Thank you so much for your call and your answer. And for the caller before, I just want to explain to you, as I was saying, we've here is actually a contraction. And maybe I can touch on contractions and you will be able to better understand that it's a shortened form of a word rather than a relative pronoun. These are the relative pronouns that we are using, and these are the ones that we are familiar with, all right? And these are the ones that we needed for these sentences. In talking about relative pronouns, we spoke about the use of each of these, and maybe I can even do a second lesson with who and whom, as a few of you already requested that we do a second lesson with that. So probably in the next session, I'll try to do contractions as best as I can, okay? But I hope you understand, right? And that is actually who came to pick the mango. Actually, which was it? Sorry, number 5. Not we've, but whom, right? So thank you so much for that. And lastly, after viewing a huge kite selection online, he had chosen a red one. So your answer should actually have been had chosen, and that is actually called or referred to as the past perfect tense, where we have a helping verb and the past participle of a word. So here it's explained for us that the past perfect tense uses had, the helping verb, plus the past participle. So when do we use the past perfect tense, right? We must also understand that. The past perfect takes place before another past action, right? So for example here, I noticed that he had left his books behind. I noticed here is your past action. I noticed that he had left is your past perfect tense, his books behind. So had chosen is your past perfect tense. So here are some examples of regular verbs, right? So we have the infinitive of the verb, we have the past tense and the past participle. But these are regular verbs that do not require your you having to use a helping verb, right? So these are some examples here. Well, it depends, I should say rather, it depends on your sentence, right? So it's the answer, answered, answered. It is actually like in the regular form. And you will see what I mean by in the regular form as opposed to irregular form. Burn, burnt, or burned, burnt or burned again. Gather, gathered, gathered. Notice it remains with that ed in both the past tense and in the past participle form. Intend, intended, intended. Knock, knocked, knocked. Fire, fired, fired. So far we have only been adding ed to both the past tense and the past participle. Want, wanted, wanted. Tempt, tempted, tempted. Scream, screamed, screamed. So these are regular verbs here where we just add ed to form the past tense or the past participle. So I want you to pay attention to these sentences here. He was finished with the project. So I'm going to underline was finished and then I'm going to explain to you. The cookies were baked fresh this morning. Were baked, right? She has burned dinner before. You can say burned or burnt. Both is correct here. So has burned. I have lived an interesting life. Have lived. He has lied to me too many times. Has lied. So you will notice here in all of these sentences, we are using the helping verb before the past participle. So for example, was finished or were baked, has burned, have lived, and has lied. All of these here includes a helping verb. So that's the difference there between these, the regular ones, where we say answer or answered, as opposed to using a helping verb and then your past participle. He was finished or were baked and so on. So here now we are going to look at a few irregular verbs. So when I say regular, we are going to look at the difference in pronunciation as well as in spelling change. If you notice before, in this table, it was just answer, answered, answered. All of these, we simply had to add ed to form the past tense and the past participle. So that's basically the same word with a different ending. Here now, we have the infinitive, the past tense, and the past participle once more. But your verbs here in your past tense and in your past participle are going to be a little different. So for example, I have am. Past tense will be was, and then the past participle would be been. Then I have drink, drank, drunk. Sink, sank, sunk. So I will not say drink, drinked, or drinked here, right? So the past tense of drink is not drinked. You're actually drank, right? So I drank a cup of water, and it's as opposed to I drinked a cup of water, which is incorrect. Similarly, with sink, it will not be sink, sinked, right? It's actually sink, sank, sung, sunk. So it's actually a different word and different spelling for each so far. So the past tense is different from the infinitive. Similarly, the past participle is different from the past tense and the infinitive. So we have fly, flew, flown, give, gave, given, read. So this one here, pay attention, read, read, read. Yes, the spelling is all the same for read, read, read. But my pronunciation in my past tense and in my past participle actually sounds more like red, like the color red, right? Although this is not the correct spelling, that is just your pronunciation. But it must be pronounced differently for somebody to know what tense you are using that word in. For example, if you say, I read a book yesterday, right? Or I read a book, even as simple as that. Specifically by saying or pronouncing the word as read, I know that it is past tense. So it's actually not read, 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 but read, read, read. Because remember, we are forming the past tense and the past participle. Wake, woke, woken. Or similarly, awake, awoke, awoken. Throw, threw, thrown. Swing, swung, swung. Swell, swelled, swollen. Sweep, swept, swept. So notice your spelling is different from sweep, but in your past tense and in your past participle, spelling remains the same as well as pronunciation, right guys? So just be mindful of all of these in your writing. And that's of course where you have to use them, right? So once again, we're going to take some calls, and now we are going to complete this table. So we have the present tense, the past tense, and you have your past participle. So the first one says choose. I need the past tense of choose, and the past participle would be chosen. This is the same verb that we came across in our paragraph earlier on, right? So with had chosen. So now we just have choose, I need a past tense, and we have the past participle. Sing, sang, and give me the past participle here. Fly, something, flown. Ring, rang, and freeze, something, frozen. Tear, tore, and I need the past participle here. Cut, the past and the past participle. Right? So call us and help us to complete this table. Some of the verbs that you are seeing here, we just read it, so you might have the answers in mind from the previous table. And some of them are new to you, right? So just be careful when you're answering. We have a caller on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Hello.
Hi. What's your name?
I'm Hafsa.
Nice to have you with us. So we have the present tense of the verb which says choose. What will my past tense be as the past participle is chosen? What will the past tense of choose be?
Chose.
Choose, but I want you to spell choose for me.
C-H-O-S-E.
Excellent job. Right? Thank you so much for that call and a correct answer. So we have choose, chose, chosen. We have another call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Hi,
Hi. What's your name?
it's Jesse Barra again.
Okay. So we need the past participle of the verb sing. So it's sing, sang, and what will the past participle be there?
Song.
Sung.
S-U-N-G.
Great. And you did it correctly there, just as I needed it. Okay? So it's not S-O-N-G, but S-U-N-G. So thank you so much for that call. Right, guys? Okay. So once again, not to be confused with your homophones. We have another call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Hi. Hello.
Hi. Good evening. What's your name?
Naomi Mohammed.
Nice to have you with us. So we have fly, something, flown. What will your answer be?
Flew.
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 Can you spell flew for me? Okay, so I'm going to finish that for her. It's F-L-E-W and not F-L-U. Okay, guys? So we're coming across a lot of homophones here. So we have fly, flew, flown. We have another call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results. Good evening. Welcome to See Results.
Hello.
Hi, good evening. What's your name?
Paul. Hello.
Good evening. What's your name?
Paul.
Sorry?
Paul.
Paul?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have ring, rang, and what will the past participle be?
Wrong.
Wrong. Can you spell wrong for me?
R-U-N-G.
R-U-N-G. Can you give me a sentence with the past participle wrong? I know I'm putting you on the spot there, but let's see. Try.
They rung the bell for
Excellent.
lunchtime.
Great job. Right? They rung the bell.
For lunchtime.
Well, that will actually be they rang the bell for lunchtime, but if you're using it in the past participle, you can just simply say they rung the bell, right? Or the bell was rung. So great job, and thank you so much for your call. We have another call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam. What's your name?
Rafia.
Okay, nice to have you with us. So now we have freeze, something, frozen. What will I put there?
Froze.
Froze. Can you spell froze to me?
F-R-O.
Yeah.
V-E-N.
So will it be freeze, frozen, frozen?
No.
What will it be?
Froze. F-O-R.
Take your time. First of all, what's the past tense of freeze?
The past tense is froze.
Froze, right? So how will you spell froze then?
F-R-O.
Yeah. F-R... Uh-huh.
F-R-O-Z-E.
Excellent job. Thank you so much for calling and giving us the correct answer. Right? So great job there figuring out that answer. So it's F-R-O-Z-E. Right? So I have time for one more call. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results. Hi, welcome to See Results.
Hi.
Good evening. What's your name?
Korea.
Nice to have you with us. So we have here, we have tear, tore, and what will my past participle be?
Torn.
Torn. Can you spell torn for me?
T-U-C-O-R-N.
Excellent job. Do you mind giving us the answer for the last one as well?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. We have cut. What will
What is it?
Sorry? We
What
have
is it?
The verb cut. Cut, C-U-T.
Cut and cut.
Cut, cut, and cut.
Cut.
Excellent job. Right? Thank you so much for your call and your answers. So guys, we are out of time there for calls, right? But I'm just going to take a second and answer or explain these two really quickly. We have tear, tore, and torn. Notice once again the front spelling all together for past participle. And then we have one of the irregular ones with cut. We have cut, cut, cut. Just like hit, hit, hit. Right? So you have to know that there is no spelling change, no pronunciation change for the past tense and the past participle. So just bear that in mind in your writing. So we have covered a lot today in ELA. We are not yet finished, but time is out or up, unfortunately. So we will be continuing on our next ELA session, which is actually next Monday. But don't forget, Thursday we have mathematics and we have creative writing once more. So join us, okay, guys? We are live every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Don't forget, there are new quizzes up on the Edmodo page for this week, or last week, I should say, rather. And, you know, check them out. Make sure and submit, right? You want to get those marks in and the practice as well. And I have been your ELA teacher, and it has been my pleasure being in your company. I do hope that you have a pleasant evening, and I will see you Thursday, God's willing.